Oh yeah, oh yeah, are we live? Oh my goodness, it looks like we might just be live. What is up, Star Wars fans? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. We got a lot to talk about on this fine Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. We got a lot to talk about. Mando Season 3 already breaking records. We got the Ahsoka show, crazy other leaks that we still have leaks coming out about that show. Insane. The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 5 starts tomorrow. We have Daisy Ridley going crazy. Daisy Ridley going crazy right now. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff to talk about on this fine Tuesday afternoon. How we doing, Star Wars fans? How we doing today? We got a lot to talk about, so we're going to get right into it. But before we do, I'd love to thank you guys for just being here on this fine Tuesday stream today. You guys are the best support that this channel could ever ask for. You guys are the best. And of course, I'm sure you've noticed the top of my shirt says clone. Ho ho ho. Let's get a better look at that. Whoa. Clone Force 99. Yeah. You wish you had such a cool shirt. Oh wait, you can get such a cool shirt. There's a link in the description below to a website that is ours. A website that is the channels that you can click on and go to that and go get yourself one of these awesome, cool Clone Force 99 shirts. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so today we're going to start off with this record-breaking news. The Mandalorian Season 3, before it even comes out, months before it even comes out, is already breaking records. And we'd love to see that. And Brandon in first today says that's what we live for. Mando all the way. He says, keep it up. Great work on your channel, bud. Thank you very much, Brandon. We're going to get right into these record-breaking news. The Mandalorian trailer that came out last Monday. This Mandalorian trailer broke records. And when I'm talking records, I mean they shattered these records. Like absolutely just knocked them way out of the park. The Mandalorian Season 3, in the first 24 hours, that's it, just the first 24 hours, had 83 million views. 83 million views. Let me put that into perspective for you. The record before that was the Obi-Wan Kenobi show's first trailer, and that was 58 million views. 58. That's over 25 million more views. We're talking The Mandalorian Season 3, when people thought there was no hype for it. It was going to do a lot worse than the first two seasons. People were kind of worried about Star Wars as a brand in general because the people weren't going to watch Andor. People weren't going to watch The Bad Batch right now. And The Mandalorian's like, yeah, take all that and just get rid of it. Because The Mandalorian is coming back. And Season 3 has all the hype around it that most Star Wars fans thought it would be missing. With 83 million views in the first 24 hours. 24 hours, that's it. I don't know what the numbers look like now. I mean, I'm sure it's way over 200 million views at least, because it's been over 7 days since that trailer came out. But 83 million views. Is Star Wars back? Is Star Wars back and better than ever? Was the only thing we were missing as Star Wars fans is The Mandalorian itself? Was that what we were missing? Is The Mandalorian coming back to the screen, to the streaming service of Disney Plus, what Star Wars needed to come back? Let's open up a poll. Let's do it. First poll of the day is is the Mandalorian Season 3 just what we need? Not want, need as Star Wars fans. Jeez, I can't type today. Yes or no? You guys tell me. Keep that poll open for a while. You guys tell me. Is it just what we need as Star Wars fans? Is this Mandalorian Season 3? Is it all that we could have hoped and dreamed of? Is it the one thing that we've been missing as Star Wars fans? Is this Mandalorian Season 3? Because honestly, we've sat here for weeks now talking about Ahsoka leaks, talking about how hyped the Ahsoka show is going to be, and the Mandalorian has kind of just sat on the sidelines, not really done much. People haven't been too excited for it. It's just kind of just been its own like thing, and people have been like, well, what's going on with it? And not a lot of hype has been around it. Brandon in again saying, Mando set the bar. Unfortunately, Book of Boba Fett, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, didn't live up to that level. The Andor could, but such a long wait. Night hopes for Ahsoka? Oh, you out of here? So the Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 really set the bar. Like Brandon's saying, it set the bar, and it set the bar extremely high. The Book of Boba Fett comes out about a year later, and it doesn't reach that bar. It actually falls very short from that bar, except for the Mandalorian episodes from the Book of Boba Fett. A lot of people call it Mando 2.5. Those Mando episodes in the Book of Boba Fett did reach that level of the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, but the rest of the show did not. The finale didn't, and all that crazy stuff. But then you talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Brandon, too. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show didn't even come close. The finale was kind of getting close to that bar, but the rest of the show was not even close to that bar. It was so far down. It was really disappointing because there were such legendary characters in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, and of course Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor came back to return to those characters, and it was sad that it didn't reach the same level as those Mandalorian seasons. But can the Mandalorian Season 3 get back to that level? Star Wars hasn't been at that level. It just hasn't. And we're hoping that this show, The Mandalorian Season 3, will get us back to that level. Star Wars Politics in today saying, I have to admit, I wasn't excited for Mando Season 3, but I think we are going to get so many surprises we can't even expect or speculate about. So yeah, we've been speculating about some crazy things that could possibly go down in The Mandalorian Season 3, with Luke showing up again, with Leia, on Coruscant. We saw Coruscant in the trailer, which is wild. That seems like something they would try to keep a secret, but they put it right there in the trailer, which, again, to Star Wars Politics' point, could mean that they're hiding a lot of things, and we could get a ton of fun stuff in this season, so much so that we can't even speculate or even think or fathom what they could come up with. Because going to Coruscant, seeing Order 66 flashbacks are all in the trailer. They're literally coming outright and showing us these things, which is insane. Literally makes us think that there's going to be a lot more going on here, a lot more to get excited about. I think The Mandalorian Season 3, and again, literally 2 weeks ago, before the trailer came out, we were talking Ahsoka. We were talking The Mandalorian Season 3 might not be that good. Did them taking 2 years off really affect the hype around The Mandalorian Season 3? And like Star Wars Politics was saying, he has to admit, he wasn't that excited for The Mandalorian Season 3 until that trailer came out. So it's kind of a strange spot here as Star Wars fans, where we were like, The Mandalorian Season 3, is that going to be any good? And then the trailer drops, gets 83 million views in the first 24 hours, breaking records. And we're like, okay, hang on. Wait a second. We might be on to something here. Yeah. Mando already breaking records. Do you think The Mandalorian Season 3, like the premiere and stuff and all the show in general, is going to break records viewing-wise? Are more people going to check out The Mandalorian Season 3 than rather even the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Because the Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere actually has the most views of any premiere for Disney Plus show. Because of the fact, like I just said, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen returned to the iconic roles of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. And, of course, everybody wanted to see that. In that first episode, so many people went to watch and then kind of just fell off hard after that first episode. So it's gonna be interesting to see if The Mandalorian Season 3 can top those numbers or even reach those numbers. And if it does reach those numbers, that's insane. That's a real testament to what John and Dave are doing here, because of the fact that they don't have Obi-Wan Kenobi. They don't have Anakin Skywalker, two main characters of Star Wars. They're doing a spin-off show with a Mandalorian character named Din Djarin, who is a brand new character. and Grogu. And of course, many casual fans love Grogu and will check out the show just for Grogu. But even the fact that The Mandalorian Season 3 could have the possibility to break records is crazy. 25 million more views in the first 24 hours than the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. It could just be what Star Wars needs. Like I said in that poll, absolutely needs just what we need as Star Wars fans. It's exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need. Staying on the topic of The Mandalorian Season 3, let's talk about the directors. So I made a video on this yesterday about who is directing like episodes and stuff and why John and Dave aren't on this list. So the list for the directors is right here. We have Rick Famuyiwa. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, but he did episodes for the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. He's a great director. He did some of the best episodes. We have Lee Isaac Chung, who has yet to do any of the Mandalorian stuff, but he is a good director. Carl Weathers, who of course plays Grief Karga, is going to be directing episodes. Peter Ramsey, which was by far the coolest name on the list because he did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man movie, actually, even though it's an animated stuff and all that. And then Bryce Dallas Howard, who, of course, has done Mandalorian episodes and done the Book of Boba Fett, too. And she is very good. She's done some of the best episodes as well. But not on that list is John and Dave. Now, my video was why we shouldn't be too concerned that John and Dave aren't actually directing any of the episodes. I still say to this day, and I know Luke Skywalker showed up at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, but the best episode of that season is The Jedi, is the Ahsoka first appearance in live action episode, is the one that Dave Filoni directed himself. Now, I don't know, you guys tell me what your favorite episode was from that season, but I still think it was that Ahsoka's first live-action appearance because of the fact that it was her first live-action appearance, and Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters of all time, but also just the way that Dave Filoni directed that episode. Dave Filoni is a animated guy through and through. He did the Clone Wars, he did Rebels, he did the Clone Wars Season 7 even, but The Mandalorian is really his first time in live action. And the way he directed that episode, the cinematography, just all the cool scenes in that episode, of course, bringing in Ahsoka into live action, but also being introduced to Grogu, because we didn't know Grogu's name. We've been calling him the Child, or even Baby Yoda, as most people have been calling him. But now we know his name is Grogu. We also found out that he was at the Jedi Temple, trained at the Jedi Temple. We didn't get the Order 66 flashback there, but we found out that he was at the Jedi Temple, which was mind-blowing at the time. So all that stuff was because of Dave Filoni. That was his directed episode. So having him not being a director on any of the episodes is a bit concerning for this Mandalorian Season 3. Also, Jon Favreau, the creator, of course, of The Mandalorian, coming to Disney with the idea for The Mandalorian, not directing any of the episodes, again, is kind of concerning, but not really. When you read the lineup that they have for directors, you shouldn't be too concerned. They kind of went out and got the best pieces of the first 2 seasons in Rick Famuyiwa and Bryce Dallas Howard, and then they went out and got some big pieces in the industry like Peter Ramsey. And it's going to be, I think, just wild. It's going to be so wild. We don't know which episodes each director is directing. I'm guessing Bryce Dallas Howard's probably going to get maybe the finale. I don't know. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about John and Dave not directing? Should it be a concern? Should it be a concern? To put this into perspective too, Jon Favreau is writing every single episode of the show, every single episode of Mando Season 3, and Dave Filoni is only working on, I think it was 2 or 3. He was only credited for 2 or 3 episodes in the writing process. Now, this doesn't mean that the 2 guys won't be on set, weren't on set while filming, but it does mean that Dave Filoni wasn't really that involved in writing this season. Now, there's a very good reason for this, because he was writing, directing, doing everything for the Ahsoka show. And more leaks come out about this show. The more insane it sounds, the Ahsoka show is going to be wild. There's no doubt about that. We still don't really know when we're going to get it. Definitely going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration, which we're going to get to in a second. Some Star Wars Celebration news. But the Ahsoka show is going to go absolutely insane with the World Between Worlds, with the New Beyond, with Thrawn introduced into live action, with Ezra introduced into live action, with Hayden Christensen coming back to play some Anakin Skywalker roles, maybe Force Ghost or Young, through the World Between Worlds, like Star Wars Politics says. We could see a Anakin Skywalker versus Ahsoka on Mustafar. We could see some wild things, and these are all just leaks. Meaning some of this could be true, some of this could not be true, and some of it could be even more crazy than what we're even talking about right now. But that's where Dave Filoni's attention is. That's where all of his attention should lie, because that's going to be wild. And again, he created the character of Ahsoka Tano with George Lucas back in like 2007-ish, when they created Ahsoka, or maybe even earlier, for the Clone Wars animated show, being the apprentice to Anakin Skywalker, which again is wild. So yeah, I can't wait for the Ahsoka show. I know you guys can't wait for the Ahsoka show. And hopefully at Star Wars Celebration, we'll get some announcements about the Ahsoka show. Now, going to Star Wars Celebration, again, is anybody going to Star Wars Celebration? I always have to ask. I know it's usually a no, but there are some people who actually go out there. I mean, 50,000 people, crazy Star Wars fans like ourselves, are actually going to go to Star Wars Celebration this year. So I always have to ask, just make sure any of them are in the chat right now. But Star Wars Instagram themselves have been starting to advertise for the Star Wars Celebration. And they gave a quick list of some celebrities or some actors or actresses who will be there. And here are some of them. So this is on Star Wars' official Instagram page. It says, this is where the fun begins. The first celebrity guests have been announced for Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023. It is in London, I do believe. Plus, more single-day tickets will be released this Friday. So if you want to get tickets, some more single-day tickets, Friday. So the first on the list, of course, is Moff Gideon's Giancarlo Esposito. I mean, of course, he plays Moff Gideon. He's going to be in The Mandalorian Season 3. And by the time of Star Wars Celebration, which is April, The Mandalorian Season 3 will be in full force. Probably actually it'll be close to the end of the season. And I'm guessing, it'll be interesting because Moff Gideon, we don't really know what his future looks like in the Star Wars galaxy. Will he die by the end of The Mandalorian Season 3? We know he's most likely going to escape prison in The Mandalorian Season 3 and be the main villain of the season. But will he die by the end of the season is kind of up for grabs. But if he's going to Star Wars Celebration, maybe it's like, I don't know, somebody do the math for me. I'm pretty sure Star Wars Celebration is like April 17th or something like that. Will The Mandalorian be over by then? Will The Mandalorian Season 3 be over by the time of Star Wars Celebration? By the time Giancarlo hits the stage, will we have known if he's dead or alive? Or will it be like the next week you have to find out and he's just going to stand up there and be like, ha ha ha, you guys don't know. I know, but you guys don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me. Somebody do the math on that. Somebody do the math. Next on the list is Anthony Daniels. Of course, the voice of C-3PO. He doesn't like to miss any of these things. Star Wars Politics doesn't think Giancarlo will die. So it's kind of up for grabs here. Because they've set up Moff Gideon as this big bad guy who's supposed to have some type of power in this remnant of the Empire. But Thrawn's coming in. Snoke's most likely going to come in at some point. These bigger threats are supposed to come in. So at some point, Moff Gideon is going to have to either look like a baby when Thrawn comes in and he's just going to have to baby him, or he's going to have to die. And then Thrawn comes in and you're like, oh my God, Thrawn's way more powerful and bad than Moff Gideon was. Or, like I said, he could come in and kill Moff Gideon, or he could come in and just baby him and be like, I'm in control now. I'm the captain now. So Anthony Daniels, C-3PO himself, will be there, which is kind of cool. He loves to go to these things. I mean, he's most known for his voice as C-3PO. So why not get all the mileage you can get? I'd love to meet this guy, by the way. I mean, imagine if he signed my C-3PO head. How epic would that be? My C-3PO head fell down, by the way. Let's fix that. Da-da. Star Wars Celebration seems to have like a green color or something. So let's change this to green. Boom. Look at this great production. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Next on the list is D. Bradley Baker, the voice of all of the clones in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch themselves. He is the voice of the clones. It's not Tamara Morrison. It's D. Bradley Baker. He will be there as well. This guy's very cool. I mean, he did all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. Now he's doing the 2 seasons of the Bad Batch, and he's the voice for all of the clones, or pretty much all of the clones. So when you're watching the Bad Batch tomorrow, and we'll get into some predictions for that. When you're watching the Bad Batch tomorrow, and you hear Hunter's voice and Wrecker's voice and Tech's voice and Echo's voice and how they're all different, it's all the same guy. So he's just sitting in a room by himself, talking to himself, going back and forth. Now, he's not the voice for Omega. Sadly, that would be funny if he was. But yeah, no, he's not the voice for Omega, sadly. Next is Vivian. She did play the young Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. That's pretty cool. This also leads us to believe that there could be a Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2. Why would they bring this girl here? I mean, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was a one-off thing. If she was at... it's probably because she didn't actually get the chance to go to the first Star Wars Celebration, because it was such a well-kept secret that Leia was in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and they didn't want her to go to Star Wars Celebration, and there would be a bunch of questions. But she was like one of the sparks of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Like, her as Leia was perfect. She did very well for a young child actress. She was very believable. She pulled off Leia very well. The sass, all the sarcasm and all that stuff. She played Leia very well. So that would be cool to see. Again, I'm not going to Star Wars Celebration, but this is the lineup. Of course, Ashley Eckstein doesn't miss a single one of these things. She's the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. She loves to play Ahsoka. She loves to do all that stuff. And she wouldn't miss out on any of these things. That's for sure. She was, of course, bummed out that she didn't get to be live-action Ahsoka Tano. But she's not, like, crapping on Rosario Dawson or crapping on Star Wars or anything. She's just glad to be the part of Ahsoka Tano and be a part of bringing Ahsoka Tano to life. She actually had an interview recently about talking about meeting Rosario Dawson on set dressed up as Ahsoka, and she was like, it was crazy. She also got some work last year with the Tales of the Jedi. I mean, she'll be the voice of Ahsoka Tano for sure for a long, long time. So yeah, she'll be there as well. Matt Lanter, who is voice of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, will also be there. A bunch of voice actors. You know, the bigger actors are doing other projects and stuff, so all the voice actors love to come to these things, and all the hardcore 50,000 Star Wars fans that go do know the voice actors, so that's kind of why these people are like actually big celebrities at these Star Wars celebrations and not many other places. This is the girl who played Tala in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So she died. Spoiler alert for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. She died in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So again, this is probably her first and last Star Wars celebration. I don't see any Tala spin-off shows, that's for sure. But yeah, that's the lineup. You got Tala, you got Anakin Skywalker, you got Ahsoka Tano, you got young Leia, you got the voice of the clones and the Bad Batch, you got C-3PO, and you got Moff Gideon. So it's going to be a cool lineup. Of course, I'll be covering all of Star Wars Celebration. That's not till April. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Star Wars Celebration seems to be a blast. I've never been to one, sadly. But when you bring it to London, I'm definitely not going. That's just way too far, way too expensive. Not anytime soon, that's for sure. Star Wars Politics says never say never. It is Lucasfilm after all. They come up with some interesting shows. You talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? The Tala spinoff show. Yeah. Yeah, never say never. Tala spinoff show. Anybody want that? Anybody want the Tala spinoff show? Do I hear a Tala spinoff show? Anybody? 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 Star Wars politics? Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. No thanks. All right, should we go into some predictions for The Bad Batch Episode 5? So The Bad Batch Episode 5, first of all, is going to be named Entombed. 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 Which is kind of interesting. So the last episode was straight filler. A lot of people actually tended to like that pod race type thing. I mean, it was entertaining, sure, but it had nothing to further the story. It was a filler episode. It was the definition of a filler episode. Half the cast wasn't even there. Hunter, Echo, they weren't there. It was a filler episode, for sure. Now, I think they're done with that. I think they're actually going to push the narrative of the show, give us an actual storyline, what's going on in this show. Because the first 4 episodes, we're going on episode 5 now, the first 4 episodes didn't really do much. They didn't do much at all. I mean, they showed us Dooku's throne room. That's pretty much it. We haven't done much in the Bad Batch. We did get Commander Cody, but again, huge question mark on where he went after that episode. But yeah, nothing much going on in the Bad Batch right now. So I'm hoping episode 5 will be a lot better and a bigger step up and give us some inkling on what this season is going to look like. Because right now, we got nothing. Literally, these first 4 episodes gave us no sense of where this season is going to go. So I'm hoping episode 5 will do that. Now, it's called Entombed. And the only thing I thought of when I heard this title was the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. When Obi-Wan is in the Inquisitor's base, and he's in like the basement or whatever, and he finds all these people like encased in like this glass or like whatever you want to call it, and you saw a youngling, and you saw what's that master's name from the Clone Wars? Completely blanking on it. Somebody tell me in the chat. And you saw those people, and they were entombed, and that's kind of the only thing that caught my eye when I heard the name Entombed for episode 5 was maybe we'll see some other people that are like glassed or whatever you want to call it, that were in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show in the basement of the Inquisitor's base. Now, I don't think the Bad Batch will be going to the Inquisitor's base, no, but maybe they find another Imperial hideout or something along those lines where that happens, where we see some entombed beings or something along those lines. That's what I really hope to see in this episode. It's possibly an Obi-Wan Kenobi connection, which could be cool. It could. We know that Dave Filoni didn't really have any control or any feel on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, so he didn't really plan out those entombed people underneath the Inquisitor's base, but it's possible that he could connect to them in the Bad Batch episode 5, which would be kind of cool. Other than that, I don't know. Oh yeah, that was my other thing. What if the person who is entombed in this glass, or whatever you want to call it, is Commander Cody? What if the Empire, because he went AWOL, that's all we kind of heard Admiral Rampart tell Crosshair at the end of that episode 3. What if it is Commander Cody? And what if this is another Crosshair episode where Crosshair finds out that the Empire is doing some sketch things and finds out that Commander Cody has been entombed in this, whatever you want to call it, and he actually saves him, and this maybe is what draws Crosshair away from the Empire. Do we think Crosshair's going to have like this switch back to the hero side? Do you think Crosshair by the end of the season could be a good guy again? Should we pull that up? Do you think Crosshair by the end of season 2 will be a member of the Bad Batch again? Do you think he will come back to the light side, as it were, leave the Empire because of what the Empire is doing to the other clones, to Commander Cody, and to other people? Do you think Crosshair will actually see that the Empire is the bad guy? I think it's a possibility. Crosshair's storyline is very strange. I mean, they gave him opportunities, plenty of opportunities, to come back to the light side, or the good guy's side, in the first season, and he just didn't take him up on that offer. I think it's going to be interesting, for sure. I mean, I really hope episode 5 brings us further into what the plot of season 2 is supposed to be. Maybe it's an entombed Grogu. I mean, who knows how crazy Dave Filoni's going to go with the Bad Batch season 2, but I'm hoping he goes pretty crazy. I'm hoping he goes hard, like even crazier than the first season with Fennec Shand and Cad Bane and Mount Tantus. And I hope we get more explanation on Mount Tantus and what is going on with the cloning and with Palpatine's cloning and where is Grogu, and all I want to know is where's Grogu. But I feel like we're not going to find out where Grogu is until The Mandalorian season 3, at least when we see those flashbacks of Order 66. And again, still no answer. We'll never find out until the episode comes out, but who is behind that door in the trailer during Order 66? So any predictions for the Bad Batch season 2? Any final thoughts on Bad Batch season 2 episode 5, Entombed, that comes out in like 13 hours? We're going to move on just because, again, the Bad Batch is going so slow right now. There's no plot to it. It's all filler episodes right now. It just seems to have nobody's attention, and it's not really grasping anybody. So I'm hoping that it gets a move on here, and we can actually start getting hype about the Bad Batch. But for now, we got nothing. So for now, we're going to go on to what we were talking about a little bit ago, and that is the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and what is going on with a possible second season. Ewan McGregor, again, coming out, talking out of his face hole, and and he's talking about possibly still getting this season 2 for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which, again, sounds like a whole lot of hoopla to me. Ewan McGregor reignites Obi-Wan Kenobi's season 2 hopes with new comments. So Ewan, of course, wants to come back and play Obi-Wan all the time. Why wouldn't he? It's a fun character to play, blah blah blue. But season 1 ended, again, like we talked about last week, ended in a way where all the unanswered questions from A New Hope, like why did Darth Vader say this line, why did Obi-Wan say this line, those were all answered in the first season. So a second season of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show would have to have nothing to do with the Inquisitors, nothing to do with Darth Vader. Maybe we could get a live action fight of him versus Darth Maul. But other than that, there's no real conflict there, and the show wouldn't really be that entertaining. But let's see what Ewan McGregor has to say. Since the conclusion of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, many Star Wars fans have clamored for a season 2. Honestly, haven't really heard much fans ask for a season 2, but that's just me. A new interview with Ewan McGregor has fueled the flames of the series' return. The Obi-Wan Kenobi smash viewership figures when it premiered on Disney+. But the hit show saw a long-awaited reunion between Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, and the anticipation was palpable. With this special theatrical release that marked Disney+ history, wasn't it released in theaters? That was kind of weird. Well, the show was always marketed as a limited series. It was supposed to be just a limited series. There have been rumors that a season 2 is already in development. Yikes. Much to the delight of many Star Wars fans. Now, there's a new hope for fans. Get it? A new hope? Who can't get enough Darth Vader's former Jedi Master. Ewan McGregor, eager to return to the galaxy far, far away. Again, why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be? Star Wars Politics says, I think it'll be a lot of Liam Neeson. Conflict could be Obi-Wan thinking Luke is the chosen one and Qui-Gon disagrees. But that's not really a conflict. Him and Qui-Gon having a disagreement about Luke being the chosen one, that's what are we just going to have 8 episodes of the two of them, a Force ghost and a living guy, just arguing about who's the chosen one? I don't, no. I just don't. Unless they come out and be like, this is the conflict, we're not having a second rematch of the century. Please, God, no. No, please, no. Please, no. Please, no. All right. Disney Studios Awards recently released an interview with Ewan McGregor, who plays the who plays the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Hayden Christensen, who plays Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader in the hit series. They keep calling it this hit series. Was it really that big a hit? I must have missed that. In it, McGregor teases that the first season may not be the last. A prospect that has many Star Wars fans excited. Actor Ewan McGregor hopes that he and Hayden will get the chance to do it again and reunite as their beloved Star Wars characters. Quote, "I was so happy to do it again and so happy to work with Hayden again, and I hope we get the chance to do so again." So here is where, again, is unlikely to happen. Now, Hayden Christensen is back and already confirmed to be in the Ahsoka show. He's already getting his work. He's Anakin Skywalker for a long, long time to come. Now, where do we see possibilities for Obi-Wan Kenobi except for in a second season of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show? I just don't see any. So Ewan is really pushing for this second season of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And I mean, let's just open a poll before I keep reading this, because I got to know what you guys think. Do you guys actually want a second season of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Let me close this last poll. Where do we end with this? How did that poll go? Yeah. Okay, so 100% yes. People thought we actually need the Mandalorian Season 3. Star Wars Politics says, "I want to see what happens after you become a Force ghost." Well, now that would be ridiculously cool. I mean, that would be so cool. Yeah, I want to see that too. You think we could... Here's the thing. Anakin Skywalker as a Force ghost is kind of a shaky topic because he's not in the sequels. He never comes to Kylo Ren's aid or even talks to Luke Skywalker on Ahch-To. And he's not really anywhere. Like we talked about this book behind me, The Shadow of the Sith, that came out in June last year. Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost is in this novel. But that's the only time we've ever seen Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost, which is weird. The Chosen One himself, who has many, many people to talk to, in his children, Luke and Leia, and his grandchild, in Ben Solo, why wouldn't he communicate with any of these people? Now, I do think we could get some answers to that in the Ahsoka show, which would be cool. It's because it's the sequels. See, yes, true, but that can't just be the answer to everything. I think John and Dave will come up with a solution to this, explain where Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost is, and maybe, like you said before, you want to see what happens after somebody becomes a Force Ghost. Maybe we see what happens with Anakin Skywalker after he becomes a Force Ghost and why he can't communicate to the outside world as well as Yoda's Force Ghost or Obi-Wan's Force Ghost or even Luke's Force Ghost at the end of the sequel trilogy. So here's my poll. And we've asked this a million times. Do you want a Kenobi Season 2? Simple as that. Yes or no? Because honestly, I don't know. Should we pull it up on the channel itself? I feel like it's a crazy thing. I don't know where people are at. I don't know if this is a thing that people want, because this article seems to think that this is something that people really want. This hit show, people want more of it. But let's read on. McGregor also spoke about how he loves that the gap is bridged between episode 3 and 4, mainly because he's always joked that about there being a good story to tell in that time period. Quote, "In the old days I would joke about there must be a good story to tell in between episode 3 and 4, but it's true. I always felt there was, and we got that story." That's kind of where I'm lost here on why we would get a season 2. We already got this story between episode 3 and 4. However, this was more than just a joke, as McGregor did always feel that there was a story to tell and believed that Deborah Chow, who directed the series, found it and nailed it. Found the story and nailed it. He says, quote, "I feel like Deborah Chow found it and absolutely nailed it. Like, just found the story that we wanted to see between the last one that we did in the first one that was done in 1977, and I think it just adds to our knowledge of these characters, and it's satisfying for the fans. McGregor was so happy to play Obi-Wan again, and it won't come as any surprise to you that it is not the first time the star has fueled the flames for a second season for the successful Disney Plus series. Again, successful. The reason it's quote successful here is because of the numbers. The numbers for the first premiere were extraordinary, and even throughout the show kept pretty good numbers, but they did fall off very hard after that premiere. Last summer, McGregor confirmed that there is no plans yet for a sophomore season, but believes that Lucasfilm is just biding their time to announce a return. Is McGregor likely to return? Now that's the real question. Given the success of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and McGregor's enthusiasm for his Jedi role, it is just a matter of time until the show returns. Now, this is where I disagree. Still, McGregor's enthusiasm could allow him to feature in some other Star Wars projects, like a second season of the Ahsoka show, which premieres later this year, with Hayden Christensen strongly rumored to star, I think it's actually confirmed, in the live-action continuation of Star Wars Rebels, pretty much. There might be a perfect opportunity to explore Ahsoka's relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi, especially considering how much time the pair spent together before the fan favorite left the Order. That's true. Maybe Ahsoka went and visited Obi-Wan on Tatooine, found out what he was doing there, and that could be another story there. That could happen, but that could happen in the Ahsoka show as well. Whether or not Obi-Wan Kenobi gets a second season is another matter. The show ended in a way, again, many fans feel was final. The Kenobi completing his character arc and reuniting with his master Qui-Gon Jinn. The hermit Jedi went from a broken man who had lost hope to finding his will to fight again, with renewing faith in himself and in the Force. A second season would have to take the show in a completely new direction. True. Very, very true. So again, I ask, do we want to see a second season of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? I just don't see it fitting in anywhere. That's kind of where I'm at. I just don't see there being a story there. So if Ewan wants to get more Star Wars roles, he's going to have to find another way to do so. Maybe in an Ahsoka show, maybe in an Andor Season 2, maybe in some other show in that time frame. I don't think he's going to get his own second season of his own show. But that's just where I'm at. What do you guys think? Do we want a second season of this Obi-Wan Kenobi show? I know there's a lot of people who absolutely loved the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, thought it was a masterpiece, thought it was one of the best Star Wars projects ever. But I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. Star Wars Politics says, I think we could really learn about aspects from the Force from Qui-Gon. So we could learn a lot about the Force through Qui-Gon. True. Very true. But there's no conflict there. We're talking about we need a whole second season of a show, like 6 to 8 episodes of a show. And that would mean we need a conflict. We need bad guys. We need good guys. We need a fight. We need something entertaining to happen. And although I would love to see Qui-Gon explaining the Force for 5 episodes, it just would not. I don't see it happening. Star Wars Politics follows up and says, he knew he would become more powerful when he was fighting Vader in Episode 4. How did he know that? Well, it is implied that he's going to train with Qui-Gon. We don't need to see that. We know that he trains with Qui-Gon, knows he becomes one with the Force in the 4th movie, and we know that Qui-Gon was the first to learn this ability, and he also teaches Yoda on Dagobah. He follows up and says, maybe bring back Vader and have some conflict there. Make it more about Vader than Kenobi. See, bringing back Vader would again negate what happened in the first season. The first season, again, like this article even said, really closed the gap between Episode 3 and 4 and gave it this nice finale, and really just took all the questions that we had because of the lines in A New Hope that George wrote 40-something years ago, 40 whatever years ago, 46 years ago, and it really answered all those questions. So having another rematch of the century for absolutely no reason at all would not make any sense. Star Wars Politics has to clarify, says, by the way, I don't want a season 2. I'm just speculating. True. I mean, I don't want one either. It is fun to speculate. And if they do one, I mean, they have to have some story there. And they have to have John and Dave involved in some heavy way, I do believe. Just because they can't mess that up. For sure, they can't mess that up. Bring back Vader, but don't have him meet with Kenobi. There could be some conflict between him and the Emperor. See, now that would be interesting, but that's not an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Just give Vader his own show. Give Palpatine his own show. Do something else. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show was a limited series. Leave it as a limited series and have maybe another show somewhere else. Obi-Wan's story is done. He's on Tatooine for the rest of the time training with Qui-Gon, and that's where we see him in A New Hope. So Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and we know where those characters end up, and we know how their story moves into the original trilogy. Now, if you want to see more things about the Inquisitors, more things about Vader, more things about the Emperor, you could make a completely different show, which would be cool. Boba Fett wasn't Boba. Okay, so Star Wars Politics is trying to trigger me here. Boba Fett wasn't Boba in the Boba Fett show. True, very true. The Book of Boba Fett, however you want to see it, Boba Fett was not the Boba Fett that people knew, and that's why people didn't really like him. But here's my argument against that. Here's my argument against the whole Beta Fett thing. The whole people didn't like the Book of Boba Fett because they made Boba a little boy. Here's where I'm at. Boba Fett. Now here's I'm about to trigger all of you. Warning. Boba Fett in the original trilogy had about 0.7 seconds of screen time. I know. Yeah, 0.7. That's it. He had about a half a line, probably, at most. And that was about it. He fell into a Sarlacc pit. That was it. And people loved the character. They absolutely loved him. Literally, it was like, yes. Oh, yeah. Boba Fett, the best bounty hunter in the world. Yeah. Caught Han Solo, brought him back to Jabba the Hutt. What? I almost just said Babu Frig. Brought him back to Jabba the Hutt. Yes, Boba Fett, epic. So when they made Boba Fett turn into a good guy because he fell into the Sarlacc pit, almost died, trained with Tusken Raiders, had this completely near-death experience, and usually when people have these near-death experiences, they change, but nobody likes change. Nobody likes change. Nobody wants to see their character that they grew up and loved in the original trilogy, which literally only had 0.7 seconds of screen time. They didn't want to see those 0.7 seconds get destroyed. And apparently, people had this crazy figment of their imagination, their own imaginary Boba Fett in their heads, and they didn't want to see that Boba Fett get destroyed. And literally, John Favreau could have done anything with Boba, and people would have been upset. It's the fact that Boba was such a very brief character, a cool little bounty hunter that people didn't really know much about. There was a lot of mystery behind him. People didn't know what was going on. And maybe people were like, ooh, this is interesting. Maybe Boba Fett is this cool bounty hunter. He has this cool backstory. He's this badass guy who doesn't really care about anybody else and will kill anybody. When did you get that? Where did you get that from? The original trilogy doesn't explain that at all. So the Book of Boba Fett doesn't really anger me as much as it angers other people. Boba Fett being this Beta Fett doesn't really anger me as much as it angers other people because of the fact that people can change, especially through a near-death experience of falling into the Sarlacc pit and then crawling his way out and the acid literally destroying his skin. And he had to train with the Tusken Raiders, found out what it was to be a part of something, a part of a family, like Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious. And then he wanted to rule Tatooine. He wanted to make things better for the people around him. Was that such a bad thing? Sorry. I just went on a crazy tangent. It really bothers me that people hate the Book of Boba Fett as much as they do. I'm not a huge fan of the Book of Boba Fett. I don't think it was a great show. The Mandalorian was better. But the amount of crap it gets, it frustrates me. Frustrates me for sure. Brandon In says, I want to see Obi-Wan's brother played in. So yeah, Obi-Wan does mention that he has a brother that he remembers when he was a little baby before the Jedi took him, which is interesting. I mean, that would be kind of cool, but it just, I don't know. Star Wars Politics says, aren't most people referring to the EU in comics when it comes to Boba Fett and comparing him to what we see in the show? So yes, kind of, sure. Boba Fett in the EU is a lot more badass in whatever. But again, EU is extended universe. It is stuff that even George didn't create. Now, I know that Star Wars Theory loves to say that George put the stamp of approval on the extended universe, so that's why it is canon to him. But the EU was just a bunch of Star Wars fans making fan fictions, almost. I mean, it was just like a high-tech fan fiction almost at the time. It was just a book done for fun. So that was their take on Boba Fett. Doesn't change the fact that Boba Fett fell into a Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi, and this is the Boba Fett we know today. He wasn't in the sequel trilogy. Nope, he was not. He wasn't. So, Boba Fett, Beta Fett, whatever you want to call him, that's where he's at today. Brandon says, Vader wouldn't hire soft bounty hunters, though. So yes, he wasn't soft when it came. All right, Boba Fett was not soft in the original trilogy. Yes, you're correct, Brandon. No, I'm just kidding. He wasn't soft for sure. He was a badass guy, and he even is a badass in the Book of Boba Fett when he. Jeez, was that really loud? I'm sorry. I apologize. He takes the slave one. And first of all, he goes and blows up the Sarlacc pit. Then he takes the slave one and literally guns down the biker gang or whatever you want to call it. Literally guns them down in cold blood. So, and then he literally kills Bib Fortuna on the throne. Like, he's still badass Boba. He just wants to rule Tatooine. So he has to do it in a civilized way. Brandon follows up and says, plus Vader warns Boba. No disintegration when hunting Han. So yes, Boba is badass, and he remains to be badass in the Book of Boba Fett. But yes, I see where you're at with that. I know that Vader wouldn't hire a soft bounty hunter. He had to be warned about his disintegration. But I still just don't think that he's that as soft as people make him out to be in the Book of Boba Fett. He still guns down those bikers. This is, again, still after all the events of the Book of Boba Fett. Guns them down in cold blood. He goes and kills Bib Fortuna in cold blood. He still has that awesome scene in The Mandalorian Season 2 where he's just absolutely destroying those stormtroopers, which is still all after he comes out of the Sarlacc pit. So yes, I still think he is badass. Okay, Star Wars Politics brings up a very good point here, and I can't actually, I have no response to this, but he says, when he runs down the stairs in his PJs. Yeah, okay, I can't forgive them for that one. He has his faults. I'm just saying it's not as bad as people make it out to be. This whole Beta Fett thing. Yes, him running down in his PJs was so stupid, and I will never forgive them for that. But it's just not as bad as people make it out to be. That is hilarious. Yes, that did happen, and that never should have happened, and it was very sad. It was it was Boba Fett running down in an adult diaper and getting beat up by Chrysanthemum. It was something else. It was something else, and it was quite the time to be a Star Wars fan. I mean, yeah, that was special. That was really, really fun. Let's move on because I can see people getting very triggered in the chat here. Let's keep going. Moving right along. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. Probably one of the most things I wanted to talk about the most. And this is Lars Mikkelsen. Yes, Lars Mikkelsen, who voiced Thrawn in the Star Wars Rebels show. He's supposed to be playing Thrawn in live action. Now, it's all been almost all but confirmed that he's going to be Thrawn in live action, which is cool. We love to see it. We want to see it. It's what we want to see. But now, Lars is being asked about it, and he's keeping hush-hush, which makes me even think more that he's going to be Thrawn in live action. Star Wars Thrawn actor disappoints fans with live action rumor response. Now, honestly, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think Lars Mikkelsen's going to come out here and go, yes, I'm Thrawn in live action? Sure. Yeah. No. Why would he spoil that for everybody? That's not that. No. It's only a matter of time until the fan favorite Grand Admiral makes his way into live action. Unfortunately, Danish actor Lars Mikkelsen shared some news that will disappoint many Star Wars fans. Again, don't believe it for one singular second. Thrawn was created for the beloved Heir to the Empire EU trilogy. There you go, Star Wars politics. The EU. The EU trilogy written by Timothy Zahn. However, Dave Filoni since has taken Zahn's character into animation in Star Wars Rebels. In the animated TV series, Thrawn was voiced by the actor known as Lars Mikkelsen, and has not been seen since Ezra captured him and sent them both to the unknown regions, or what we are now led to believe is the New Beyond. Despite not being cited since, he has been mentioned in other Star Wars projects. Ahsoka's introduction in The Mandalorian is most notable when she asks, "Where is Thrawn?" teasing a huge role for the Grand Ahsoka's. What is this? What? I'm guessing this is supposed to say Grand Admiral, but for some reason it says Grand Ahsoka's. Okay, sure. Am I like misreading this or something, or is this like a crazy spelling error here? However, when Thrawn makes the leap to live action in Ahsoka, the Grand Admiral will need to find a new voice to help bridge the gap. No galaxy far away for perfect choice. What is going on here? Is there all just these spelling errors in here, or is this just me? So this is Lars Mikkelsen. I mean, he looks the role. He looks like a great Grand Admiral Thrawn. But here's what he says. In an interview with Express, Thrawn actor Lars Mikkelsen debunks rumors that he'll be continuing the part in live action. Despite voicing the iconic character in Star Wars Rebels, he has cast some doubt on whether he will be playing the part in the upcoming Ahsoka series. Whether the actor is returning as the Grand Admiral will remain a mystery. And when asked about the publication, the actor could only laugh. I can't read. Okay. He's aware of the ongoing fan campaign for his return, but the actor shared that he has not been offered to play the character in live action. Okay, if you know anything about the movie industry, if you know anything about the Star Wars fan base or the show industry, if you know anything, you know that these actors aren't going to come up on the screen and say, "Oh yeah, I'm in that show. Sure, yeah, let me spoil it for all of you." Yeah, no. The one thing that they all tend to say, is I haven't gotten that phone call yet. They haven't called me yet. They don't say yes. They don't say no. They say, I haven't received that phone call yet. You know what? I haven't received that phone call yet. And that just confirms that I'm in the Ahsoka show. That confirms I'm in the Mandalorian Season 3. How awesome would it be if I was just like in the background of like the first episode of the Mandalorian Season 3, and I was just like, look guys, look, I'm here. Okay. So yeah, that's what they always say, is I haven't received the offer yet. I haven't got the phone call yet. That's what they all love to say. It's a whole lot of hoopla to me. That's what I say. Let's continue reading. However, all hope is not lost, as the actor would consider returning to Thrawn in a future project. Oh yeah, that's what they also say. They say, I haven't received the phone call yet, but I'd love to return to the character. Of course. Star Wars Politics says, you aren't the stunt double for Din Djarin, Mike? I can neither confirm nor deny this. Also, I am probably a lot bigger than Pedro Pascal. How tall do you guys think I am? Let's go with that. How tall do you guys think I am? He says, quote, I am aware of that. Yes, when he's asked about the fans wanting him to come back as Thrawn. He says, well, I haven't had the offer yet, but yes, sure. Already fans have shared shared their sadness with the news. Some Twitter user says, this is so sad to hear. He is perfect for the part. So perfect. Another one says, he's very disappointed. Larrs has said that he would love to be live action Thrawn, so it isn't a matter of he didn't want to do it. If he's not the live action choice, I'm going to be at minimum very disappointed. That's a slam dunk casting. Hopefully he's just lying about not being approached. And yes, I agree. I think he's definitely lying. He's a liar. He's a liar. Oh my God. Star Wars politics? Are you serious? You just sniped that. What? How'd you know? Are you? Star Wars politics, are you here? Are you in my room right now? That was a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. So I definitely think that Lars Mikkelsen is lying. He hasn't got the call yet. He hasn't been offered the role yet, but he'd love to come back and play the role. Yeah, that's a whole lot of hoopla. And we're going to talk about another character, Star Wars character, doing the same thing actually yesterday, as well as Lars Mikkelsen, making these ridiculous claims. I haven't received the call yet. I haven't been informed of this people wanting me to come back as this role yet. Yeah, that's a whole lot of crap. That's what I say. A whole lot of crap. But let's see what you guys think. Let's open up another poll. I love doing these polls, by the way. It's a lot of fun. Let's close this poll. Let's see where this poll ended. Do we want a second season of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? 60% said no, but that means 40% of you said yes, which is kind of crazy. Let's start another poll. Do you think Lars will be Thrawn? Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. I definitely think it is, for sure, without a doubt. I mean, he's definitely lying to us. There's no way that in the world that they wouldn't go out and get him. I mean, that would just be really dumb of them, just to not get this guy when he wants to be there. It's just really stupid. Fives Holocron today says voted no just because I don't know where they could go with the story without affecting canon. I'm sure it can be done, but it doesn't appear they have concern with canon giving some of the hiccups. True. Fives, you are absolutely correct. They don't really care about canon at this point. I mean, they just kind of threw it out the window in that Obi-Wan Kenobi show's first season. It seems like they're throwing it out the window with the Bad Batch. It seems like they're just throwing it out the window in general. Canon who? And it seems like Dave Filoni's kind of at the front of that. He's just like, I don't care what your canon was before this. I'm going to do what I want to do, and your canon can now be what I say it is. Pretty much. Yeah, you're 100% right. You are 100% right, Fives. What do you think about Lars being Thrawn, though? What do you think about Lars being Thrawn, though? Because I don't see anybody else playing the role as well as Lars could, because again, he knows the role. I wonder if Brittany's watching this on the replay, but Brittany, I know you love Thrawn and know that, and always say that you don't want him to be portrayed incorrectly. So hopefully Lars is the guy that you want to come in here and play Thrawn and play the character, because I think he would be the perfect cast. Perfect. Absolutely perfect cast. All right, now I know you guys clicked on this video because the thumbnail and it says Rey's returning. And we're going to get to that in one quick second. But first of all, why we're going to get to that. Star Wars movies. Star Wars movies. So Disney has released their slate for like the next 10 years of films or something along those lines. And the two Star Wars movies that were released were 2025 and 2027. So 2025 is still 2 years away, and that is way too far. But I just want a Star Wars movie like now. But it seems as though that 2025 movie is going to be the Damon Lindelof, who wrote The Watcher, or The Watchmen, sorry. David Lindelof, who's going to be writing it, and the girl from Miss Marvel, who is the director, who is going to be the director of this movie, and it's going to be a post-sequel trilogy movie. Now, it's not going to be in the Skywalker saga. It's not going to be considered Skywalker saga, but it is going to take place almost immediately, if not a few years after the sequel trilogy. Now, this is leading to a lot of rumors about Daisy Ridley coming back as Rey, as possibly, Oscar Isaac coming back as Poe Dameron, and one of the biggest question marks is John Boyega as Finn, because he doesn't seem to want to come back. They did that guy so dirty. But Fives Holocron First says, I voted yes on Larrs, thought it was actually a done deal already. Guess not. So I think it actually is a done deal. I think it's all but confirmed by Lucasfilm. I just think they're trying to keep it a secret. I use that in quotation marks. Just because they don't want Larrs to be out there being like, yeah, I'm Thrawn, for sure, I'm in the Ahsoka show. They're trying to keep all this stuff silent, and that's why they just are keeping it as a mystery, as it were. But let me continue. So yeah, I think that 2025 movie is definitely going to be a sequel trilogy movie. A sequel trilogy movie, I should say. But I don't know if it's going to be the first of a sequel of a trilogy. I don't know if it's going to be a standalone film or it's going to be the first of a trilogy or what's going on. I just don't know. But the fact that there is going to be a movie in 2027 leads me to believe that there will be a second movie to that first one. So in 2025, we will get this Damon Lindelof written and Miss Marvel director movie. And whether or not that does well, I'm sure it will get a sequel to it in a trilogy format and probably be that 2027 film. Now, what do we think about a sequel trilogy? Are we extremely upset about a sequel trilogy, or are we open to the idea of moving beyond the Skywalker saga, past the Rise of Skywalker, moving on from the sequel trilogy, and seeing what is to come after that? Now, here's where a lot of people might be against that. Here, we'll put it to red, just because I feel a little bit evil talking about this. Star Wars Politics says he's totally open to it. So, here's where I'm at. The sequels, one bad year. And I think John and Dave are really doing a good job about clarifying what's going on in the sequels already with the Mandalorian timeline and all that stuff. And I think that, again, Grogu's going to be alive after the sequels. You can have a whole storyline around Grogu, or maybe Grogu's like this overarching character that's kind of like in the background doing crazy things or something along those lines. We don't have much information about this movie at all, except for maybe the return of some sequel characters, which would be, depending on how you feel about the sequels, it could be good or bad. Star Wars Politics says, I did a video on his channel, go follow Star Wars Politics, where Ahsoka gets stuck in the world between worlds and has to escape to find a new Jedi Order post Episode 9. Now that would just be insane. I mean, if you could have a post Episode 9 Jedi Order with Grogu and with even Rey and Finn, and then have Ahsoka along those same lines, would be very cool. Now, there was some rumors going around about Ahsoka still being alive post sequel trilogy because of the fact that she talks to Rey at the end. When everybody's telling Rey to rise in the Rise of Skywalker, Ahsoka is one of those voices. And Ahsoka seems to be a mystery still. Dave Filoni did not confirm or deny that she was alive at that time, because I don't think he actually knows yet. I don't think he knows when he's going to kill off Ahsoka or where Ahsoka's going to actually end her story. Star Wars Politics here is trying to say that she could possibly go into the world between worlds and survive after the sequel trilogy and be a new Jedi Order in the post-Episode 9 world. He follows up and says, she talks to Rey through the world between worlds. Now that would be pretty cool. I saw a video actually along those same lines about how Ahsoka didn't actually die and talk to Rey through the Force. She died, or she was in the world between worlds, like Star Wars Politics is saying here, in order to talk to Rey. It's going to be very cool to see the Ahsoka show, see Ahsoka go into that world between worlds, and see what possible things we could see in the background, in these portals, in some type of alternate reality for the sequels, or maybe even alternate reality. We know that she's probably going to fight Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar, and we know that she's probably going to try to affect some type of story arc with Thrawn, but we don't really know. We don't really know if we'll see other timelines, or maybe even, like Star Wars Politics is suggesting here, she could actually talk to Rey going into the future in the World Between Worlds, because we've never seen that. We've only seen Ezra go in and go into the past and see things that happened before him, again going and saving Ahsoka through the World Between Worlds. But we've never seen actually anybody go into the World Between Worlds and go to the future. But a lot of what the World Between Worlds is supposed to set up is Ahsoka finding out that destiny cannot be changed, and all these things that happen for a reason, like Anakin Skywalker falling to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader, and her ending up where she ends up. Like Ezra saving her had to happen, and why it had to happen we don't really know yet, and hopefully that gets fleshed out in the Ahsoka show with Thrawn and with his whole undead army and all that stuff. But it could be that, like, a fixed point, or something that can't be changed because it's supposed to be destiny, is what happens in The Rise of Skywalker with Rey, and that's why Ahsoka sees that and actually has to help her out, which would be insane. Literally just mind-blowing Dave Filoni stuff all over again, because the guy is the GOAT. But here's where it gets even crazy. We're talking about Daisy Ridley talking about coming back as Rey. Now she again is denying it, but here's where it gets pretty crazy. So this is Daisy Ridley. Hang on, let me see if I can find this interview here. Daisy. So this was an interview with, I think, that was 1 month ago. Hang on, I can find this. Give me a sec. So first of all, Daisy Ridley has been doing really nothing. She did like a fan film or something along those lines, or like a small project film. And that came out pretty recently, I think actually yesterday or today. And she hasn't really been doing much of anything. I mean, she hasn't been getting much work. Being Rey is kind of just been like almost a standstill in her career, honestly. But it is, where is this? I know who posted it. Yeah, so here's the interview with Daisy. So this is her talking about coming back to the sequels. Oh, is that no volume? What the heck? Oh, here we go.
This is the one Rey.
Oh, is that really loud? I have no idea how to turn this down. Oh, wait, hang on. Maybe I do. Whoa. There we go. How about this?
Looking back, what was the one Rey scene that you're most proud of?
Oh my gosh. The thing that springs to mind is in The Force Awakens with Harrison Ford, the little-known actor. He gave me the gun. I say something like, I can take care of myself or something.
I think I can handle myself.
I was so nervous that when he was doing it, I was like, oh my God, it's Harrison Ford. So I was like proud that I got through the thing and seemed fairly casual.
Do you think you'll ever revisit the franchise at some point?
I mean, I'm open to a phone call.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for employment.
She's lying.
Looking back, what was the one Rey scene that you're most proud of?
So, yeah. Could you guys hear that? So she the first question, it was an interview with IMDb. First question was, looking back, what was one of your favorite moments, or moments you were most proud of as Rey? And she says, when I was acting with Harrison Ford in The Force Awakens, it was my first time being with Harrison Ford, and I didn't freak out when he handed me this blaster, and I was like, blah-bitty-bloobity blah. Then he asks, well, would you ever return to the role? And her face says it all. Let's watch it again. Her face is literally like, yeah, but I can't tell you.
Looking back, what was the one Rey scene that you're most proud of?
Oh my gosh. The thing that springs to mind is in The Force Awakens with Harrison Ford, the little-known actor. He gave me the gun. I say something like, I can take care of myself or something.
I think I can handle myself.
I was so nervous that when he was doing it, I was like, oh my God, it's Harrison Ford. So I was like proud that I got through the thing. And
so here it comes. She's going to be asked, well, would you come back to the role as Rey? And then watch her face. Watch her face. Actually, can we zoom in on this? No, we can't. Okay.
seemed fairly casual.
Do you think you'll ever revisit the franchise?
She looks down immediately. Again, a tell she's about to lie.
At some point?
Look, see that? See that? See that? See that? See that? Right there. Right there. I feel like the guy from The Incredibles. Right there.
I mean, I'm
She's open to a phone call. Sure.
to a phone call.
And she starts laughing. She can't even.
I'm
Look at
looking
her,
for
look at her, look at her.
employment.
Right there.
Looking back, what was the one race
watch it one more
scene
time, one more
that you're
time.
most proud of?
Run it back.
Oh my gosh.
You can't watch this and tell
The
me
thing
that
that
she's
springs
not
to
coming
mind
back. I mean, she's already
is in
probably
Force Awakens
signed stuff. She's
with
totally lying.
Harrison
Star Wars
Ford,
politics. You're
the little known
completely
actor.
right.
He gave me the gun. I say something like, I can take care of myself or something.
I think I can handle myself.
I was so nervous that when he was doing it, I was like, oh my God, it's Harrison Ford. So I was like proud that I got through the thing and seemed fairly casual.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready to see a liar on screen in front of you? We're going to slow it down. Ready?
Do you think you'll ever revisit the franchise?
Immediately when asked this question, she looks completely straight down. Liar. And then she can't help but smile. And she says, oh, I haven't received the phone call yet. Oh, I'd love to do it, but I haven't received a phone call yet. Yeah, sure.
At some point?
Oh, see that? She was like,
I mean,
yeah. She can't even look him in the eyes and lie to his face. She can't even do it. I mean, I'm open to a phone call. I'm
open to a phone call.
Yeah. She literally can't stop herself from smiling.
I'm looking for employment.
She's looking for employment. Yep. Yeah. Just say it, Daisy. You're coming back. We already know it. The next movie's going to be sequels and you're in it. It's all but confirmed at this point. Star Wars Politics says Anakin on Mustafar. Liar! You're completely right. This is literally the definition of an actor completely lying, saying, oh, well, I haven't received a phone call. We just talked about Lars Mikkelsen doing this and how he's not going to be Thrawn. This is Daisy Ridley just straight lying to all of our faces. She'll be back and she'll be in the 2025 Damon Lindelof sequel movie. I would bet my life on it. I'll bet you guys another lightsaber giveaway. We talked about this. If Kathleen Kennedy's not fired by next November, we're doing a lightsaber giveaway. If Daisy Ridley's not in the movie in 2025, and Damon Lindelof or whoever's movie it is, if she's not in it in the sequel film, I'm giving away a lightsaber. The day after that movie comes out, if she's not in that movie, lightsaber giveaway for sure. Well, we're watching the video again.
Looking back, what was the one race scene
that you were most proud of?
Oh my gosh.
The thing that springs to mind
This is crazy.
is in The Force Awakens.
Like, this is such a bad
with
lying job.
Harrison Ford.
Like, we
the
already
little
know
known
that you're
actor.
having,
He gave me the gun.
We already
I
know
say
that you're
something.
having interviews or talks with Lucasfilm. Like, just stop lying to us.
Oh my God, it's Harrison Ford. So I was like proud that I got through the thing and seemed fairly casual.
Do you think you'll ever revisit the franchise?
Yeah, do you think you'll ever revisit the franchise? Okay, let me conjure up some great lie right now.
At some point?
I mean, I'm
open to a phone call. I'm open to a phone call.
open to a phone call.
Literally, she just breaks into a gigantic smile. Can't stop because she's already signed something. She's definitely already signed some nice $1 million contract right here.
I'm looking for employment.
She's looking for employment. I just signed a nice $1 billion deal with Lucasfilm to come back as Rey. But I'm looking for a phone call. You know I'm looking for a phone call too. I am. Lucasfilm, please call me. I'll be awaiting your phone call. That's bad. That's really bad lying. Really bad lying. Really. But this isn't the first we've heard about this Daisy coming back. Just a few weeks ago, we actually talked about it on stream, and I made a video about it. Daisy put on her Instagram story, like, her outside of Lucasfilm headquarters or Lucasfilm's offices or whatever. And she was just posting on Instagram about how she misses Star Wars, how she misses being there doing Star Wars and all that stuff. And fans were going crazy because there are a ton of Rey fans out there. Star Wars Politics says, how are you going to post on social media that you're going to Lucasfilm and lie like that? Literally not possible to. We were just literally talking about that. She posted on Instagram about being at Lucasfilm offices and having lunch with Kathleen, literally confirming that she was doing these things. But now she's still denying that she's not going to be in the movie. Like what? That's just lies. But right. So we know that Rey's most likely going to come back and Daisy Ridley's going to come back. But what I'm hoping more is for John Boyega to come back. I'm hoping for our boy Finn to actually get the redemption that he deserves. There's so many sequel characters because the sequels were so hodgepodge and put together so poorly that need redemption. These characters need to be redeemed. They need a better ending to their story. And Finn is the biggest one, by far. Like, the biggest one that I would really hope to get a better story for him. And actually, him become a Jedi and all that stuff. I really hope that we can get to that point with the character of Finn and actually get John Boyega to come back. I think Star Wars fans need to give John Boyega all the love in the world like we did for Hayden Christensen, because Hayden Christensen got so much crap when the prequels came out, and John Boyega got so much crap when the sequels came out. But it's not John Boyega's fault. That's the thing. It's not this actor's fault that they wrote him such a crappy character. In The Force Awakens, he was such a cool character and had this cool arc. And then right after that, it was like, Finn who? Finn why? Let's just ignore Finn. Have him scream Rey a couple more times. Like, it's bad. It's bad. It's real bad. But keeping on with Daisy's antics, she was talking about the Acolyte show, which is kind of cool. I mean, the Acolyte show is supposed to take place before The Phantom Menace, but it's pretty cool because her grandfather could be involved in some way. Daisy Ridley hypes up one new Star Wars show, and it's talking about the Acolyte. So Daisy Ridley hypes up the Acolyte show. Now, this is the Acolyte herself here, completely blanking on the actress's name. This is Lee Jang-cha from Squid Games. He's going to probably be playing a Jedi Master in the show, which is very cool. This is the director or something along the lines. Is that Leslie? Might be Leslie right there. In an interview with Vanity, so she did an interview with IMDb and an interview with Vanity. The reason she's getting all these interviews right now is because of her new movie coming out. But Star Wars star Daisy Ridley shared her thoughts on the upcoming Disney Plus slate for the franchise, specifically calling out the Acolyte show. When asked about the number of projects within the sci-fi franchise set in the star set to star female protagonists, Ridley said that she had sat next to someone at the Wakanda Forever premiere from Lucasfilm who told her the Acolyte is amazing. She added that the Acolyte star, Amandla Steinberg, that's this girl right here. That's Steinberg. Said she can handle herself, and that the young actress can handle herself. What is up with the direct today? Or am I just crazy? Or are all these just spelling mistakes? Been working for a long time. According to Ridley, when it comes to her role as one of the strong female characters in the franchise, it's about being in the moment and enjoying what it is. Quote, it's not just Star Wars, but not just with Star Wars, but with everything. You have to try to be in the moment and enjoy what it is because life moves very quickly. The Rey actress, she goes on to talk about just how fun she had, but she did hype up this Acolyte show pretty crazily in this Vanity Fair or Vanity article, which is kind of weird because the Acolyte show, like The Mandalorian a week ago, is not getting any hype around it. And it is filming right now, so they're probably trying to keep it hush-hush so that people aren't getting these leaked images like we got a few weeks ago of High Republic Jedi, like Lee Jang-cha in Jedi outfit and a Wookiee Jedi, and we got all those leaked images. But it is interesting that Daisy Ridley is out here hyping up the Acolyte show when there are shows closer like The Mandalorian Season 3 and the Ahsoka show, even the Skeleton Crew show. And this exec or producer at Lucasfilm was sitting next to her during the Wakanda Forever premiere and was hyping up the Acolyte show more than any other show from Disney Lucasfilm, hyping up the Acolyte show. Very strange. Very, very strange. Very, very strange. Let me end this poll here, and then we'll get into this. I just want to see what you guys thought about Larrs. Do you think Larrs will be Thrawn? So it's a 100% yes. So you guys didn't believe him lying either. Yeah, I completely agree. So this is the last article I got on Daisy, talking about the Rey thing, and it kind of has to do with that interview that we just looked at. So Daisy Ridley defends Star Wars controversial Rey decision. So this is about the decision about Rey. So the Rise of Skywalker star Daisy Ridley comments about how she feels regarding some of the big changes in the 9th film made in relation to her character's heritage, and defends Lucasfilm's approach. So the sequel trilogy is a sore subject for many, that's for sure. Some key canon choices are passionately hated by the fan base. Yeah, that's for sure. One of those choices is Rey's parentage. The Rian Johnson's Last Jedi audiences are expressly told that the character comes from nobodies. Her parents aren't important. However, Episode 9 turns around and retcons that notion, instead shocking viewers by revealing that Rey is a product of a clone of Emperor Palpatine himself. Now, the star behind Rey Skywalker herself offers some updated thoughts on the particular story beat. So they literally put Skywalker in parentheses because they know. So this is how Daisy Ridley feels about Rey's parentage. In an interview with Rolling Stone. So again, Daisy's done 3 interviews in like the last 24 hours. Daisy Ridley, who portrayed Rey in the most recent sequel trilogy, commented on the big twist regarding her character's true parentage, and defends the choices made by the movie. Ridley's answer was diplomatic in nature, but she supported the change. Nothing that she enjoyed the message of how you can be the hero and come from literally the worst person in the universe, such as in the case a clone of Palpatine himself. She says, quote, "Well, J.J. Abrams was the one who was like, she is of no one, so it was just The Last Jedi where that hang on, let me restart this. Is she speaking English here, or am I just messing it up? Well, J.J. Abrams was the one who was like, she is of no one, so it wasn't just The Last Jedi where that was the message." Okay. What was interesting about the last one for me was that you can be the hero and not come from anywhere. Or you can be the hero and literally come from the worst person in the universe. So Daisy's take on this is that there's 2 ways you can think about it. One, you can think about it as she is from nobody. Her parents were technically like no ones. I mean, a clone of Palpatine, but still nobody. And you can still be the hero if you are from nobody. And then in the last one, she finds out that she's the grandparent or descendant of Palpatine, and she can still be the hero when she's the descendant of the most evil person in the universe. So she's really backing Lucasfilm here. She's really backing the choices that Lucasfilm made for the sequel trilogy here. And she's playing it more diplomatically than she did years ago. When she was talking about how they had no plan for my character, how the sequels were just a hodgepodge, nobody knew what was going on. It's a lot different Daisy Ridley talking here than we saw a Daisy Ridley years ago talking about the sequels. So it is interesting to see her try to be diplomatic now, and it definitely, again, can relate because we think that she's coming to the films again. We think she's coming back to play Rey in this new Damon Lindelof film. So it is definitely likely that we will see her there, and that's why she's trying to play it diplomatically and trying to play both sides, because she wants the megabucks. She wants to be a millionaire. That's for sure. She's waiting for that phone call, as it were. So that's all I really got on Daisy Ridley. I'm probably going to be making a video on her going crazy like this tomorrow. Maybe I'll work on it tonight and hopefully get it out for you tomorrow. We got the Bad Batch starting tomorrow. Or not starting tomorrow. Episode 5 is tomorrow. It feels like it's starting tomorrow because we haven't really gotten much at all from it. But hopefully the Bad Batch kicks it into high gear in these coming episodes, and we actually get something good coming along in this season. I really hope that's the case. Really hope that's the case. And of course, if you want to get hyped watching the Bad Batch, well, having some cool merch called Clone Force 99 on your shirt, there's a link in the description below to our store here on the channel. We got hats, we got shirts. This shirt is epic, and it's a limited time thing for the Bad Batch being released. So make sure you go get one of those. Yeah, we're going to get on out of here. Got to go work on that video. Got to go do some other things today. We'll be live on Thursday to break down the Bad Batch episode. Hopefully it's really good. And to talk about some more Star Wars news that comes out later on in this week. So come around on Thursday at 1 p.m. We'll be here. Another fantastic stream. Lots of love for you guys in the chat. Brandon, Star Wars Politics, Fives. Much love. You guys are the best. The reason that we're all here today. You guys are the best. Hit that subscribe, smash like if you like this video. What have you done if you haven't smashed the subscribe yet or that like button? Jesus. Come on. I'm going to get on out of here. So don't forget to hit that subscribe so you see my face, my pretty face, and that recommended feed of yours. Yeah, Thursday. Check out the shop in the description below. And may the Force be with you. Always.